Ever since the initial release of Genshin Impact, I've spent a lot of time thinking about what new characters will arrive, and what they'll do to advance the story, as well as what we'll learn about the past events in Teyvat's history as a result of their presence. Along this line of thinking, one idea that I've not been able to evade is that some of the game's deep lore characters, which are rarely mentioned but are clearly developed, could end up playing major roles in the story at some point in the future. With that said, in this video, I'll be discussing the 5 characters from Genshin Impact's lore that I believe may become not just major influencers with regard to the future story events, but will likely become playable characters. I'll also provide speculations as to what I think the probable elements and weapon types for those characters will be. Let's get started. Number 5. Grandmaster Varka. The Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius is currently leading an expedition to an undisclosed location. Not only is the elusive Grandmaster supposedly powerful and insightful, but he commands the respect of each and every one of the members of the Knights of Favonius. Although somewhat of a free spirit in nature, Varka is said to be the most powerful knight in the order. The Spindrift Knight, Eula, who Varka claims wields powers which match that of the acting Grandmaster Jean, says that when she sparred with him, he was holding back, causing their duel to result in a tie. His free-spirited nature notwithstanding, he is also known for his decisive action and good judgment. Before leaving on the expedition approximately 6 months before our chosen traveler arrives in Mondstadt, Varka selected Jean as his replacement, knowing that with her, the city of Mondstadt would be in as good a care as if he were still there, if not better. The Grandmaster is described as tall in stature and was referred to as the Titan of the Knights of Favonius by Child, further strengthening this idea. Varka's occasional reference throughout various story aspects and character voice lines, as well as his highly regarded status within the City of Freedom, suggests that at some juncture, for better or worse, he will return, but when or why is still a mystery. I believe Varka's absence for now could simply be a storytelling tactic used to remove the presence of this powerful character from the story, which would otherwise render most of the story's conflicts thus far rather inert. We don't know much else yet about Varka, which would suggest his fighting style, but if size is any indication, a claymore might be a reasonable assumption. And currently most of Genshin Impact's most free-spirited personalities are pyro vision holders. But seeing as how 2 characters already exist which utilize this combination, we'll have to wait and see. Number 4. Alice. The eccentric and well-known writer of the Teyvat travel guide. On her many adventures, Alice takes her time to write down her experiences and publishes them for other would-be travelers to read. Her writings are erratic at times, seeming almost as if the notions of an individual driven strictly by her impulses. As the mother of the energetic Spark Knight Klee, this shouldn't be altogether surprising. As Klee appears to be some form of an elf, we can likely assume Alice is as well, and may also have the accompanying elven lifespan, resulting in a youthful appearance despite being no less than 50 years old. We know this because she has a long-standing rivalry with Mona's master back in Fontaine, and it is suggested that she may even be an elder member of Mona's former Fontaine Hexenzirkel. Alice also happens to be an aspiring alchemist with unknown goals. Her connection to Albedo's master Rhoen Daughter has serious implications considering Chemia's role in the era of the Calamity. Alice is likely to play a major role in not just Mondstadt's future, but also in Teyvat's future salvation or destruction. Presently, on one of her adventures, we don't currently know the whereabouts of Alice at this time, and there have been no updates to the Teyvat travel guide to give us any clues to her current whereabouts. Her probable involvement with the Fontaine Mages Coven suggests Alice is likely to be a catalyst user, and her affinity for explosives may also indicate that Alice will join the ranks of the other free-spirited pyrovision wielders, just like her daughter. Number 3. Rhoen Daughter. The missing master of the renowned genius alchemist and knight of Favonius, Albedo, Rhoen Daughter is said to be a master of the ancient Conrian art of Chemia. As it is with Alice, Her knowledge of the art once practiced by the ancient lost civilization suggests she will have a large role to play in future events as well. Rhoen Daughter is popularly theorized to not only have been the creator of the Black Dragon Durin, which during the era of the Calamity wreaked havoc on the City of Freedom, but there are several indicators that she may also have connections, or even herself, be the infamous alchemist Gold, on which history places the blame for Khaenri'ah's destruction. Rhoen Daughter, from Albedo's perspective, seems amicable enough. Dutiful as a master, she worked to ensure that he learned everything she knew, often threatening to abandon him if he ever failed. A powerful motivator for someone as talented and determined as Albedo. However, she did eventually make good on that threat, but not for the before stated reason. She left after the pair had discovered the heart of Niberius. Niberius is another instance of the Gosha demons coming into play within Genshin Impact's lore, implying that this heart could have been a fragment or a portion of the remains of a defeated Archon. What Rhoen Daughter's plans are for this relic, we really don't know, much like the rest of the character's traits and personality. What we can be certain is that the Chemia Master that taught Albedo the invaluable lesson that dust is the basic form of all life will return, and when she does, the direction of the main story will likely change trajectory. Surface-level speculations may suggest that as an individual with a harsh personality, Rhoen Daughter may most likely be suited to the cryo element, as it currently houses the vast majority of the roster's more harsh personas. Additionally, seeing as how Albedo's earliest memories are of adventuring with his master, he may have also learned what he knows about swordplay from Rhoen Daughter as well, which could suggest too that she will be a sword wielder, when or if she joins the roster of Genshin Impact's playable characters. Number 2. Vanessa. The founder of the Knights of Favonius, Vanessa, with the help of the Animo Archon Barbados, helped to free Mondstadt from the rule of the aristocracy and its harsh overseers, the Lawrence clan, 1,000 years ago. A brilliant warrior with the earned title of the Lion-Toothed Knight, she is currently still living and serving the City of Freedom as the Falcon of the West. Vanessa's dedication to Mondstadt cannot be overstated. During her time as a slave in the age of aristocracy, she served the nobility as a Colosseum fighter, boasting the impressive accomplishment of having been undefeated. She was generally willing to be a participant, so long as it meant her people, the flame-touched Murata, would remain safe, particularly when it came to her sickly younger sister. In fact, it was Vanessa's presence and continued winning streak which kept the rest of her kin out of the Colosseum altogether. Until that is one day, she was by pure accident involved in an altercation between the Bard Venti and the City Lord's son, Barca Lawrence, during the Ludi Harpastum festival. With only a gaze, Vanessa was able to end the conflict, but unfortunately incited the wrath of the City Lord for her effort. The Lawrence clan used this as an excuse to throw not just Vanessa, but all of her kin, including her sister, into the path of Ursa the Drake and its horde of Hilichurls. Eventually, Barbados stepped in and helped Vanessa send Ursa retreating. In the end, all Lord Lawrence had accomplished with his cruelty was to incite a rebellion resulting in the downfall of his family name, inevitably ending the tyrannical era of the aristocracy. Vanessa would go on, as I mentioned, to found the Knights of Favonius, tasking the knights with ensuring such a tyrannical rule could never again rise within the City of Freedom. At the time of the rebellion, Vanessa had not yet possessed any vision so far as the manga outlined, but we know she was eventually selected to ascend to Celestia, so it can be assumed that she became an Allogene, and by extension was at some point granted a vision. Her determination to sacrifice her own needs for the good of others is a trait often found among the Animo characters on the roster, and as such I believe it is likely that when Vanessa is called upon again by Barbados to serve the City of Freedom in a more direct capacity, she will wield the powers of Animo. The only weapon she was ever depicted as wielding was a claymore, which was provided to her by the Lawrence clan as a means for them to watch her suffer in futility whilst attempting to save her kin. This could have been because it was her preferred weapon in the Colosseum, but we don't know this for sure. For now, This remains the most likely weapon in my eyes for the Falcon of the West. Number 1. Guizhong. The god of dust, Guizhong, was a brilliant and kind-hearted archon who helped to found the Guili Assembly alongside the Geo-Archon Morax more than 3,700 years before the current day. This was unfortunately the age of the Archon War, and during this time, many of the existing Archons of Teyvat squabbled for power and dominion over the lands. Although not known to be among the most powerful of the gods in Teyvat's history, she was renowned for her vast knowledge and a gift for engineering. It is believed that together with the Adepti, Cloud Retainer, they developed the deadly accurate Guizhong Ballista, which still served to protect Liyue in the current day. Her knowledge was not just limited to engineering, however. It allowed her remarkable clarity in the events of the world, making her also a gifted tactician. Together with Morax, who provided the brawn to her brains, Liyue's Guili Assembly was among one of the most noteworthy civilizations in Liyue's many thousands of years-long history. The two even pledged themselves to one another, without a contract, as would have been Morax's custom. Possibly romantic in nature, the full details of their relationship are not truly known. Although the picturesque manner of their meeting in a vast field of glaze lilies suggests possibly that their relationship was romantic in nature. In this initial meeting, it is said that Guizhong gifted Morax the stone dumbbell he carries with him still in the present day. Its true function was that of a puzzle box, which she challenged the Lord of Geo to open, as its contents would bestow upon him all of her knowledge. Morax has still never successfully opened this gift, and today it serves as a memory of what he lost, hence the name Memory of Dust for the corresponding catalyst weapon of similar design. It is said with her dying breath, before fading into a fine dust, Guizhong reinstated the challenge she issued on the day of their meeting, although she was not able to fully complete her thought before succumbing to her wounds. It is likely she reissued this challenge, knowing that Morax would long struggle to accomplish this task from his current state of being. Morax would then weather the ages of Teyvat, gaining knowledge on his own, with which, by the time he solves the puzzle, he will have gained the knowledge which culminated in the puzzle's creation, and in that way, Guizhong would live on inside of him. While this line of thinking is already poetic, I do believe there is a possibility that Guizhong's story did not end during the Archon War truly, and it is for this reason I've selected Guizhong as number 1 on this list. As mentioned earlier in the video, Rhoen Daughter bestowed upon Albedo the knowledge that dust is the basic building block of all life. miHoYo has time and again proven that they rarely select a title for a character without a reason. And Guizhong is the god of dust, the god of this basic building block. It is said that she faded into a fine dust on her departure from the living world, and the basic building block, dust, is what remained of her after passing. But I also mentioned that Rhoen Daughter disappeared after discovering the heart of Nibirius, and I mentioned that Nibirius was another instance of the Gosha demons appearing in Genshin Impact. With the exception of Paimon, all of the other Gosha demons have represented Archons in the game's lore thus far, so I believe it may be possible that the dust remains of Guizhong may be what were discovered by Rhoen Daughter and Albedo that day. With that said, Rhoen Daughter is likely to have already succeeded at least once in the transmutation of an artificial human, which many, including myself, believe is Albedo. If she indeed has this dust in her possession, it is possible she may attempt to create or reanimate an artificial Archon, which would likely take the form of the god of dust. If this does come to pass as part of Rhoen Daughter's plan, it could mean that Guizhong will likely play a huge role in the main story, in addition to acting as something of a distraction or foil for the usually calm Zhongli. If Guizhong does return to Teyvat to play some role in the story once more, I believe Geo is most likely the element that would be hers to manipulate, as Geo is generally the element which represents those characters who have a special affinity for learning and adaptation. Additionally, the previous lifeform created by Rhoen Daughter is also a Geo user, although, as a reanimated Archon, anything could be possible. I also believe that she would more than likely be an archer of some kind, possibly even wielding a new type of weapon such as a crossbow, something that would emulate a miniaturized version of the Guizhong ballista she helped to develop eons ago. Finally, seeing as how she was not known for her strength as an Archon, I believe it is likely that she would serve as a support-focused healer-type unit, as this would most accurately suit her empathetic personality. And there we have it. 5 characters who I believe will play a huge role in future story developments, but also join the roster of playable characters as well. Of the 5 mentioned, who do you find yourself most excited about? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified when my next video goes live. Lastly, join the Teyvat Historia Discord server, where you can discuss Genshin Impact's lore, theories, and mechanics with nearly 3,000 other community members. Thanks for watching Teyvat Historia. May the 7 guide you, travelers.